My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. Welcome, and good morning, South Lake. Man, I am so psyched to be here. I started too early, didn't I, Jay?
No, I caught you with the...
That's all right. I wanted to say, Cup of Joe today. This is your Cup of Joe, all right. We have a great show for you today. I'm so happy to be here. I think I was listening to Sharp Dressed Man this morning. Was really rocking me out, picking me up. It's really a good time. I want to tell you, Jay, you'd be so proud of me. I was tempted to talk about politics today, and then I realized I just didn't want to step into that quagmire. Just so much going on historically, politically. Let me just say this about politics. Pay attention, okay? Because what's going on today is literally historical, okay? I mean, from Mayor Pete winning the caucuses in Iowa so far, first gay man in history to actually win a major presidential race. That's historical. Says a lot of good about this country. The impeachment is historical. It's only happened 3 times in history. The state of the nation and some of the goings on there. Just pay attention. Watch history. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. You should watch this. It's a show. It's theater. So watch it, pay attention. You'll want to tell your grandchildren someday that you remember seeing X, Y, Z. The comment my wife made last night, of course, the big thing is Nancy Pelosi tore up the speech. And my wife and I were saying, the guy that actually gets that speech and hangs on to it, they have like an asset that they can sell someday because it's a piece of history. The actual speech that was torn up during that particular state of the nation. Anyways, we have a great show for you today. I'm very happy to be here. My 4 things. Conserve water. We're going to talk today about it is actually National Shower Together Day. So we'll talk about that. I couldn't resist that one. We're going to talk about the Florida Lake Symphony upcoming show. Continuing our Cup of Joe series about love. We're going to ask if you're speaking the language. Do you speak the language of love? And finally, we have Rod Price. Rod is a very interesting guy, very accomplished guy, a gold medalist in canoeing, actually dragon boating. This guy is an extreme ultra canoeist. He's done some amazing, he's done races that are like 350 miles, no sleep, straight through 1,000 miles where he got lost and he does some really cool stuff in the community. And we have a good activity. We talk about dragon boats for seniors, but we'll talk about all of that when we bring Rod on, this amazing guy. Just when we're going to hear from the sponsors as usual. And when we get back, we'll get started. I'll see you in a second. Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
Who wants to host their own tea party? I'm Erica, owner of Erica's Tea Room in downtown Clermont, and we are happy to announce our new edition of mobile tea parties. What is a mobile tea party, you may ask? Well, it's a tea party that we do all the work and bring everything to you at your location. Your house, your office, your location. You tell us where and we'll show up and we do the work. You enjoy your day while we set everything up and make sure your party is running smoothly. Keep us in mind for your next mobile tea party.
Burgerum, located in the Epic Theater shopping plaza on Highway 27 is the premier destination for gourmet burgers. Using only the freshest ingredients, Burgerum offers a variety of burgers, salads, wings, and a whole lot more. Beef, chicken, lamb, fish, and even veggie. Burgerum has something for everyone, no matter your dietary preference. Burgerum, millions of possibilities, endless combinations.
Welcome back. Welcome. Man, I'm so impressed with our sponsors. They're all doing such amazing things. They don't just get advertising here and sit on their laurels. And that says an awful lot about the business people that brand their businesses and advertise with us. Erica's Tea Room, perfect example. You saw that ad. It's about her mobile tea party. She can bring a tea party to you. You don't have to do it. You can have a tea party for your event. Would be kind of a cool, unique way. Also, the other thing I want to talk about today is Burgerum. Our friends out there, Asef and his gorgeous, sweet wife, and the rest of his family. My wife and I went in there with the kids. One of my kids knew it, the other one wasn't familiar with it. We had a great time, totally stuffed, having a meal. Didn't order a lot, but man, we were really, really full. And his whole family was there that day. It really is a family-run business, and we will actually be doing a live broadcast from there on Saturday at 10 a.m. You really have to tune in. I think we'll be on Facebook. That one will be on Facebook. You can tune in. We're going to interview Asef and his wife a little bit. We're just going to do a Saturday morning segment. Maybe we'll interview some customers or some people on the street. I don't know. We're going to kind of play it by ear and just have some fun. So join us 10 a.m. on Saturday for that. All right. Well, what are we going to talk about today? I wrote this down as conserve water. This is an in-joke with my wife because when our kids were small, they went to church one day and said, I don't even remember which child, and they said, Mommy and Daddy really want to save on water, so they take a shower together. And we were totally mortified because the kids had said it in church, right? So today is actually Shower Together Day, National Share a Shower Today. And the idea is actually to bring attention to showering with non-chlorinated water. Although if you live in a city system that uses chlorine, I don't know how you're going to avoid that other than buying a filter. And even then, you can't filter out the chlorine. But you want to celebrate Shower Together Day? Well, they say on the website to celebrate take a shower in non-chlorinated water. I say live to the spirit of the day. Find somebody to take a shower with. Hopefully your sweetie, since Valentine's Day is coming. All right. Speaking of Valentine's Day, our friends of the show, Florida Lake Symphony Orchestra, has a concert coming up. We just brought up their general website. This talks about the season that we're in now, but their upcoming concert plays actually here in Clermont on Valentine's Day on the 14th, Friday night. They also play on the 13th, Thursday night, up in Eustis at the Epiphany Celebration Anglican Church. Here it's at the Family Christian Center, 7 p.m. Amazing show. Tickets are priced right. You can get tickets at FloridaLakeSymphonyOrchestra.com. Here it is. He's brought it up here. I really, really encourage you to get out and see this. This is some unique entertainment at an affordable price for our community. That nobody else has something like this. These are world-class professional musicians. And I can announce today that I have just booked our sweet dear friend, Audrey Sanders, for the Wednesday before every one of her shows for the rest of the spring. There are 3 more shows. Audrey's going to be on here talking about the composers, talking about the show. I'm so excited to have her on and pre-booked. It just, I can't tell you how much I'm stoked about that. So get out there. Do not miss this. It's worth going to. Okay, Cup of Joe, do you speak the language? I don't know if you're aware, but there's a concept out there called the love language. Okay, and the love language says, is the language that is the actions that people take that tell you they love you, at least that make you feel loved. So there was a book written by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. Those languages are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Here's the rub. Most of us, it's natural, tend to put out to those we love that thing that makes us feel loved. But that may not be the love language your partner speaks. I like words of affirmation. That really is what does it for me. I really feel loved when people affirm me by their words. My wife loves little tiny gifts. And so, my marriage changed when I realized I could speak her language and give her what she needed, as opposed to giving her what I needed. And miracle of miracles, when I started giving her what she needed, what I needed started to come naturally. Anyways, I just wanted to say that today. Do yourself a favor. If you want to show somebody you love them, if you really love somebody, speak their language, not yours. You can get that book on Amazon. That's where actually I got the author. I couldn't remember his name, so it's easy to find. We'll be continuing with this series up until next Friday when Valentine's Day comes. Finally, Rod Price. Did I just blow your ears out with that, Jay? Rod Price he has a website, rodpriceadventure.com is his website. This guy is amazing. He's done a bunch of things. I don't know how we're going to squeeze it all into 25, 30 minutes, but we're going to give it our best shot. This is his website. We're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have Rod with us. I'll see you in a minute.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Clermont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Our team has over 30 years of experience helping first-time homebuyers, veterans, move-up buyers, seasoned investors, and more. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Sing Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors. Welcome back. Look, I love to hear our sponsors. We're a very short time. We have a lot of material to cover, so let me just leave it at I love the sponsors. Sponsors, you have a place in my heart that you just cannot understand. I will always remember you and always appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting us and what we do here at South Lake TV. All right, Rod, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
We are joined by Rod Price of RodPriceAdventure.com. That's his website. Rod is kind of an eclectic personality because he does so much. He is a world champion dragon boat gold medalist. You can see all the gold medals out here. He's a 6-time winner of the Florida Everglades Challenge. He also holds the world record for completing that challenge. How long? 3 days?
3 days, 6 hours.
3 days and 6 hours. He is an author, a speaker. He volunteers with New Beginnings and helps coordinate their dragon boat race, Dragon Boat Festival.
That's correct.
And he is the proud husband of Stacy. Rod, welcome. It's so good to have you here. You're one of those guys that sometimes all the people I used to have as guests, I all knew before, but as we go more and more, I have more and more people that I never meet until this day. I get told about, I get a phone call. When I talk to you, you were perfect fodder for my cannon.
Right.
How did you get started, man? Tell us about how you made this transition.
Well, I've been racing canoes for over 40 years, and my recent book is about that. But it was really sort of by happenstance. I was playing tennis for Lake Sumter Community College in Leesburg in 1979 or so, and I just happened to run into a guy.
When you were 12, right?
Yeah, right. The years go by quick. Yeah. But I ran into a guy who had a funny-looking canoe on the top of his Jeep, and I asked him about it. And he said it was a racing canoe, and I had been exploring some of Florida's waterways. We moved down from Georgia in 1972, my family, to Clermont. And so I was really interested in that. And so I went out in the Lake Eustis up there a couple times with him and learned about canoe racing, that there was a whole network of canoe races. And it's actually a little niche sport, and wound up buying this guy's racing canoe because he was getting out of the sport. And won my first canoe race in 1980, 20 miles long on the Ocklawaha River, which is east of Ocala. And I was hooked ever since then. It's a great way to see natural Florida and explore new areas. And
that's really kind of cool. You must have seen a lot of changes in not just the sport, but extreme sports. Niche sports like that have a much larger exposure today because of television and streaming. 9 ESPN channels. They're always looking for something else to cover. So I was actually surprised to hear that there was a Dragon Boat World Championship.
Right. Well, dragon boating involves mostly sprinting, and I transitioned sort of into that about 5 years ago, starting the Clermont Dragon Boat Club. And then I ran into a Team USA coach a couple of years ago, and he asked me to try out for the team last year. And all of a sudden, from being an individual racer to being part of a team and being told what to do, it took a little mental adapting.
It's funny that I went to, I'd never really seen a dragon boat race. I mean, I had thought, I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought it was one of these things where they make an easy chair float and, it's all joke boats. But when I got here, when I saw the festival, I showed up at the festival last year, just looking for something interesting to do. I was shocked at, the number of people and how serious they were about it. So, you're a racing canoeist. Dragon boat's something you said has been just a few years in.
Yes.
But you're an extreme canoe racist. You're an ultra distance racer. Tell us what an ultra distance racer is.
Well, normally we call marathon distances around 20, 30 miles. It's a little bit different from the running marathon races. But when you get into multi-day racing, where you're racing all night or multiple days, that's what I really call ultra distance canoe racing, where you have to most of the time, live the race. You have to adapt to the situation. And depending on how many miles you're going, in 2012, I did the Ultimate Florida Challenge, which is around the whole state of Florida, the peninsula. And then when you get up to the Florida-Georgia border, you go up to St. Mary's River. Then you have to portage 40 miles. You have to put your boat on a cart. And after you haven't used your legs for about 10 days, you have to tow your whole canoe, kayak rig 40 miles on a road to get to the Swanee River. And then you
You say tow, you mean like walk.
Walk, that's
right?
Correct. That's right.
You don't mean hook it up to a car and drive.
That's
to the
right.
next spot.
That's right.
Let me ask you, and when I was talking to you, getting ready for this, the concept of, in my first conversation with you, the concept of, because I'm familiar with ultra marathons, but typically these guys run for a day, there's like a leg, it's 120 miles,
Right.
then they stop and run another 120 miles. The thing that caught me was you said in the canoe racing, you do it through the night. You can go a couple of days without sleep.
Well, it's tough to go a couple of days. Last year, I won my sixth Everglades Challenge, and my partner and I, we were up against 3 younger teams, and one of them actually challenged me for the race, said he was going to be my competition. And my partner and I are very good at sleep deprivation.
Foolish words.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, you might beat me if you don't sleep.
That's right.
Yeah, but so the first night, usually everybody sleeps 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
Well, it was great conditions, and my partner and I raced the first 36 hours without sleeping. And then we were down at Marco Island, and we slept for a couple hours. And by the time the second day came around and everybody else had slept a few hours, we had a 30-mile lead.
So how does that work? Do you just like pull over and sleep in the canoe?
Well,
Do you
it's
get
a
out
learned-
and
it-
camp
yeah.
a little bit, or do you just stay
Yeah.
where you are and say,
Yeah.
okay, crash now, or you crash, I'll paddle, you'll
Yeah.
paddle when I crash? How
Yeah.
does that work?
Well, different people have different techniques, and I've always, had the plan of sometimes a guy could sleep in the front while you keep the boat moving, but then you have to work twice as hard because
Right.
somebody's sleeping. So it's really better if you both, pull over and sleep for a couple hours. And we call it stealth camping because you never know where you're going to pull over. I've pulled over in a construction site, and you just drag your tent out. You don't set it up. You just drag it out, get in it, zip it up to keep the mosquitoes off of you, and set your little clock for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And you can really feel refreshed after
So
30
you're
minutes of
literally
sleeping.
just grabbing a nap.
That's right, just
know.
to try to stay somewhat mentally sharp.
And so here's the thing, Rod, for most of us, getting through a day without being exhausted, is tough. I mean, I'm sure you have a way and special supplies that you eat, because you got to eat in those 3 days, right?
Yes, that's right.
And I'm sure you don't want to eat, products that are going to make you have to pull over and evacuate for a half hour,
That's true.
And so how do you keep going? I mean, I just, the thing that really wanted me to bring you on the show was you've written 3 books, gold medalist, world class, hold world records. You've won this race 6 times. You're going to attempt a 7th time. That I think makes you a world record holder as well, correct? Nobody else has won that race 6 times, have they?
Not in the class I'll be
Not in
competing
the class
in.
that you're in. So how do you do it? How do you set that goal, man? How do you just put that in front of you? Because most of us have a hard time losing 20 pounds. And you're setting up to tax your body and your mind and prepare your finances so you can do so. How do you do it?
Well, I've downsized my lifestyle. Like, for instance, I drive a 2004 Jeep. So, as long as the vehicle's running and it's dependable, I'm happy. But as far as, being ready for these races, it's a lot of mental preparation and muscle memory over years of doing what I do. Like when I was in my 30s in canoe racing, I had a business and I had to divide my time. Now, that I do this pretty much full time, some sort of paddling activity, I have muscle memory and I don't take any time off. Like I used to take a month or 2 off at the end of the year. When you get older, I found out it's just not worth trying to get back to that level. So just keep your workout schedule. On Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I meet a couple of other people, kayakers, and we race each other for about 8 miles each session. And then we go out and have a nice breakfast. But that keeps me really on top of my game.
Keeps you sharp.
Yes. So, we're always, competing against each other, and we get bragging rights for the morning.
Look, I have more on. We're going to delve into this subject, but we're going to hear from our sponsors. Don't go away. This is absolutely fascinating. You must hear the rest of this. When we get back, Rod's going to tell us about some of the other things that he's done. He can tell us a little bit about the books. He's going to tell us about how he keeps going once he hits that wall, what kind of mental pictures he takes. And he's going to tell us about dragon boat racing for seniors, which is kind of a unique concept. So join us. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors.
West, now pre-leasing 28,900 square feet of commercial, professional office space in Clermont. Conveniently located on Highway 50, less than 2 miles from the Turnpike. A first of its kind in the Southeast, this pristine building creates the perfect blend of nature and modern design. If you seek a high-level image that matches your business, reserve your space today. 50 West, unique, quality, Class A. For more information on leasing, contact Ashley Punn at 407-403-4165. Karen Arlano at 407-948-0767. Or visit lease@50west.com.
My name is Michael Singh, Agency Principal of Singh Insurance and Financial Services. We offer auto insurance, home insurance, and life insurance. Our office number is 352-432-1646, and you can also check us out on our website at www.singhinsurancegroup.com.
Are you tired of having drugs or alcohol ruin your life? Do you need to get off pain pills but still maintain pain relief? My office in Tavares has programs to help you. While not covered by insurance, program fees are affordable. My name is Alan Zupkin. I'm board certified and have helped thousands of patients achieve these goals. Please call me for further information.
Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors. Welcome back. It's so good to have you back. Look, we just heard from Alan Zubkin, Modern Orthodontics, 50 West, and our friend Mike Singh. You know what? I think the cool thing about that series of commercials is it was all people that help people. It was all businesses that help people with their lives, that just feel their life better. And you might ask me, how does 50 West fit into that? Well, 50 West has given you a gorgeous, eco-friendly, environmentally friendly, environmentally responsible place to do business. So if that is a concern of yours, that building has been an absolute marvel to watch go up. It literally is a moving piece of art. It'll be a piece of architectural art when it's done. And if you are concerned about your carbon footprint and where your business is because of it, then you should be at 50 West. You can call Karen Arellano. If you want to talk about that, you could mention Joe Knows South Lake. If you heard about it here, just give us a little shout out. But I really want to say all of the businesses are that way, and their hearts are in the right place. They're in business because they love helping people. Give them a call, see how they can help you. All right, we are back with Rod. So much to talk about. Actually, in the break, we were talking about what are we going to talk about because we can't talk about it all. I want to start, Rod, because we were talking about the mental sharpness that you have and how you prepare for the race. I did want to ask, the concept of being in a race, it's 3-4 days long, 5 days long, comes that point where your arms are burning, you haven't eaten, you haven't slept. What is in your mind that allows you to keep going to get, and I'm sure a lot of guys fall out of those races.
Oh, they do. There's a high dropout rate.
What is it, 60, 70, 80%? I mean, it's got to be high, right?
Yeah, it depends on the conditions. Yeah.
So my question is, so many of us, we're giving up our New Year's resolutions 4 days in. What do you have to do to prepare mentally to push through that? But what do you think about that gets you to that goal?
Well, I visualize the finish. For instance, I do like to eat, and after a long race, I already know where I want to eat, especially a race like the 300-mile Everglades Challenge. In Key Largo, there's a restaurant right by the finish, and they have big portions, and I'm a big sweet tea fan, and I don't have to worry about what I'm eating when I go down there after a 3 or 4 day race.
I imagine you just shed 30 pounds, right?
Yeah, sometimes. But anyways, I visualize the finish, and sometimes if you're shooting for a time, that pushes you along too. And having competition, behind you, hopefully, or someone in front of you you're trying to catch, that keeps you focused on what you're doing.
I love that because we so often talk on this show about if you really want to achieve your dreams, you have to be able to see it in your head. You got to be able to see yourself successfully accomplishing the tasks it takes to get to where you want to go. You've got to visualize the reward. You've got to visualize this yourself happily making the sacrifice. So that's really great. Look, I don't want to cut you off. Like I said, we have a lot of stuff to do. We have your top 10 up here. Tell us about what the top 10 challenge is. Rod's top 10 adventure challenge.
Right. Well, people always ask me what motivates me in racing. I've won about 300 races.
I think this is on the screen. It's right over your right shoulder. You can see it if you want to walk us through it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I have I'm on my third marriage. I told you about that, and I've learned that you need to turn the house over to the wife. Right. Stacy is a wonderful woman.
3 times the charm, man.
That's right. But anyways, she has allowed me to keep one room, and some people have a Florida room or a man cave. We call mine the paddle room. A lot of times when you win races, you get a decorative canoe paddle, so I hang them all up in this room.
Oh, we actually have a picture of it. That's cool.
Yeah, some of my awards. But anyways, I've gotten enough awards to last a lifetime. So what motivates me is doing new challenges and adding different races to my top 10. And so if someone invites me to a 30-mile race, I'm probably going to choose a 300-mile race over a 30-mile race because it'll make my top 10 list. But I'm really proud of my top 3 races. I call them epic challenges. In 2012, I did the Florida Ultimate Challenge around the state, which is you have 30 days to finish.
It amazes me, 1,200 miles.
Yeah, and I did 27 days was my finishing time. But every day you wake up and you know you need to average 40 miles a day to finish. And sometimes you have terrible headwinds. You could have storms. If you sit out, the clock keeps ticking.
You're actually out in the ocean.
Well, if you're paddling, we try to stay in the intercoastal waterway. But you cut through the Everglades. You go through Biscayne Bay. There's a couple of long crossings you have to make, and you can have any sort of weather when you're called out. So you have to sort of keep an eye on the weather. But as you know, Florida can be pretty unpredictable.
I know 40 miles a day.
Yes,
just boggles my mind because I couldn't imagine doing 40 miles once.
Well, it's an acquired thing, but I started out doing the Ultimate Florida. My goal was to break the record, to be the fastest solo paddler in my class, and so I thought I needed to average 67 miles a day. Well, the first day of the race, we have 25-mile-per-hour headwinds, and I paddled all day to go 25 miles, and I was exhausted. And so right away, I had to say, well, let's just concentrate on finishing the race. Let's not worry so much about the...
Yeah, and a million years ago, I was a marathon runner, and I know that feel is where you get to the place where you're like, okay, look, if I could just get my body to cross that finish line, I'm going to take that as a win.
That's
So
right.
what's the second one?
The Yukon 1,000 mile race, and I was fortunate enough to have a great partner from Georgia, and it was the first year they had the race in 2009, and our goal was to win the race from the start. Most of the people, this was unheard of, a 1,000-mile race in 2009. Most of the people's goals was to finish the race. We took off on day one, and we did not see another canoe till we waited for them at the finish. It was 6 days, 8 hours. And a beautiful scenery. The Yukon River is just gorgeous.
And number 3?
Number 3 was the race to Alaska. That was in 2017, just a couple of years ago. And you can get anything up in the Pacific Northwest. It's a race up the Inside Passage. It starts off with a 40-mile crossing from Washington State to Victoria on Vancouver Island. And if you can't complete that within 36 hours, and they don't care what the weather is, you can't proceed to do the rest of the race. So you can,
because it's going to be harder.
That's right. That's right. And so I made it. I had good conditions. I made it in time. Was able to to continue the race and finished it in about 19 days. Saw some phenomenal scenery. I was running with a kayaker. We sort of teamed up. It's nice when you can run with someone. And he was from Seattle. He knew the area, which was great. He pointed us to some great camping spots. But one time we were going across a large, long sound. And he was about 100 yards behind me, and a 30-foot long humpback whale with calf came up about 2 feet off the stern of my canoe.
Kidding.
And instead of saying, "Wow, this is neat," I panicked and paddled with my life depended on it. And but Matt, the guy behind me,
I'm sure
said,
the whale next to you is a whole lot different than you standing on the boat looking at the whale out in the distance, right?
That's right. Because, he could have easily flipped me over in the cold waters up there, and I'd been in big trouble.
Yeah.
And it's like having a school bus come up right beside you. But
big scary truck on the highway, right?
It makes for a neat story if you survive it.
Do you know? And it's funny that you say that, because I have really gotten the impression, and I know you've actually said it, that I want people to understand that these race organizers, their primary concern is the safety of the racers. You're
Absolutely.
signing a waiver, but they have stop points and regulations. You told me a story about when you fell off the grid for a little bit, not because you were in trouble, but because that area didn't have you have locators at all times.
Yeah, it was a technological problem in the race
Right.
to Alaska, and I was reported missing, and the Canadian Coast Guard was looking for me.
They literally called out the Coast Guard.
Yeah, and for 24 hours they were looking for me, and they called my wife, unfortunately, and told her I was missing, and asked if she could check my credit cards for activity. And then,
is that why one of the divorces? She said
No,
she couldn't take it out. I'm
no,
just playing
no.
with you. I'm just playing with you.
yeah.
You check your credit cards for activity. Where are you going to use a credit? I'm on a canoe.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
But it's just cool to hear that they are concerned about that.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm going to move through quickly because I got a lot of stuff I want to cover. We were talking about your paddles. Yep. And I really love this one. Can you pick this up and tell us about this?
Well, 2008, I was invited to be part of a 4-person raft racing team on the Amazon River.
They can see it.
And anyways, it's a 100-mile race. They still have it now every September. And you fly to Peru. You usually go to Lima. Then you take a little plane over the Andes to Iquitos, Peru. And that's the biggest city in the world that you can't reach by car. It's 500,000 people. You either get there by the Amazon River or you fly in. Now, they do have a road network, there, but it's the jungle surrounds the whole city.
Hang on one second. Jay, I want you to catch this handle. All right? Go ahead with your story.
Yes.
I just wanted to see
these are this paddle is actually made from a tree down there. They call the paddle tree. And they, cut it out and shape it to the size they want. And there's some really good paddlers down there in the raft race. It's a money race, and so the people down there are fairly poor. And so the top teams, they train year round, and you have to build your raft out of balsa logs the day before the race. And so we built sort of a catamaran, and we wound up coming in 5th out of 45 teams from all over the country.
I think this is very cool because you're not only doing a race in Peru, but because it's in Peru, the race is really founded in their cultural.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, because, you know, if you're going to get around Peru back in the day, you know, and I mean, back in the day, like 50 years ago, not 300 years ago, you know, you were going to cut, these natives were cutting their own, I guess natives is not politically correct anymore. The indigenous peoples were cutting their own paddles. They were making this stuff. There was no manufacturer to make your Team USA paddle.
That's right.
You know, which is nice and lightweight.
Carbon fiber.
Fiber. It's going to be a little harder to break. Decorated very pretty. They're just cutting this out of wood and going to town.
That's right.
You know.
Well, it's funny that 3 of the local teams beat us, along with one all-male kayak team from the U.S. But it was pretty amazing. You know, we have all of our modern, you know, lightweight carbon fiber paddles. We have tubes with, you know, Gatorade or protein drink. We've got wicking materials, you know, and sunscreen. And then you have basically these guys from the local area for Iquitos. They're sitting flat on a 8-log raft with wooden paddles, and 3 of them beat us. And what was funny, the second day of the race, it was extremely hot because you're near the equator down there. And I noticed after the race, one of the top teams, they each had 1 water bottle. And I asked through an interpreter, I said, surely you guys drank more than a liter of water. And he goes, oh, yeah, we just refill it from the Amazon River. Now, the Amazon is terrible with parasites, and cities along the Amazon just dump raw sewage right into the river. And so they just got the system that can tolerate the polluted water.
Because they've been doing it their whole life. You know?
Half of our team got sick while we were down there.
You know, I 2 more things I want to make sure we cover before we run out of time. Right. One of them is your book. But we'll do that at the end real quick. Tell us about Dragon Boats. For you and I were talking about this. You are now officially, because of where you are, you're considered a senior. I'm 55 plus. I'm 57 years old. I'm approaching that yard line very quickly. You know, tell us about dragon boating for seniors.
All right. Well, first of all, dragon boating is like a giant canoe. It holds 20 people, and at festivals all around the U.S. and the world, teams compete in sprint races.
Now, you told me the other day that dragon boats are technically something that any boat you can launch from the beach.
Yeah, right? That's actually from the Everglades race,
where
they allow any boat you can launch from the beach. But if you have enough people, you can launch a dragon boat.
We have a picture of a dragon boat. Is this you? This must be you. It's a picture you sent.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep.
I see people in... well, that's over your shoulder there. You can twist over and see that.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's after winning one of our races in Thailand. That's the men's team. We were undefeated. The men's, the mixed, and the women's team, we won 11 out of a possible 12 gold medals. It was the best showing in the history of the event for any Team USA.
Oh, and this is here, you guys with your gold medal.
Right.
Little less worn out.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the guys on the team, this was their 4th or 5th world championship, and they had never won a gold medal. I was sort of lucky to be invited to be a part of this group and come away with gold medals, nothing but gold medals.
So how does this play in for seniors?
Well, this is an all 60 or over team. And so I first encountered what a movement it was with senior citizens up in the villages. They have 9 teams, and they have people waiting to get on teams up there, and they're very competitive. I put on several dragon boat festivals, and you better make sure they get their medals.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's a great activity for the upper body. And athletes, most of the time our legs go first, because I used to play tennis and do some adventure racing.
Yeah, the knees.
Yeah, that's right. The knees go.
Knees, hips, ankles.
Right. With dragon boat racing, you're mainly concentrating on the upper body, although you brace in and try to use your whole body. And it's sprint racing. So you try to build up the cardio so you can go all out for about 2 minutes. That's the average race. And you work on your form with the paddle.
That makes sense, because most of your life you're beating up your ankles, your knees, and your hips, and now you're in a sport that relies far more on upper body than it does on lower body.
That's right.
Cool. So this something that it's very competitive. Would you suggest this for aging athletes, for somebody who wants to get into shape? I mean, is there something for every fitness level? Or?
Absolutely. I run the Clermont Dragon Boat Club, and we work out on Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings. And whenever we're really into our season, which starts in about May, we work out 3 times a week.
We have your Facebook page up here, and I'm sure that is stuff from your races and your members and stuff like that.
So what we do, Joe, is it takes about 5 minutes to show someone the basics of dragon boat racing, and then we just sit you in the back of the boat, and you can go at your own pace. We'll give you some pointers, and that way the rest of the team, that has some of them been paddling for 3 or 4 years, they can go at their pace. And we always like people to come out for a couple times before they commit to joining our club. And if you want to race, if you're just there for fitness, we like to accommodate all ages. And we even have some parents that bring out their children that are usually age 10 is a good time.
Can I imagine that we've got a nice little video of a dragon boat race going on right here? And
Take a look at it.
Paddling furiously. Is this the local club?
Yes, that might be from the Clermont Festival.
3 years ago, Mount Dora.
Yeah, okay,
3 years ago, Mount Dora.
I run
Right.
the Clermont, the Mount Dora Festival also.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really great.
So you are the man as far as dragon boat festivals go.
in Lake County.
In Lake County. Well, no, that makes you the man. We're
Okay.
only focused on Lake County.
That's right.
The heck with Orlando right
Yeah.
now.
We're really blessed in Lake County to have all these waterways.
When
It's
Joe
wonderful.
grows big enough to be called Joe Knows Orlando,
Okay.
then we'll be concerned about
Okay.
Orlando. Until then,
Right.
I don't have to worry about Disney or anything else. It sounds like this is great. I would assume that you don't let somebody race unless they have some sort of a clearance from their doctor, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
If they're my
Yeah.
age and 120 pounds overweight,
Yeah.
you don't want somebody having a heart attack out on the lake, right? I mean, so
Absolutely.
So there's
I
a
mean,
waiver
yeah.
to sign or something.
Oh, there's a waiver, but just because you sign a waiver, we didn't want you to, to wind up in the hospital.
Let's shift to the book.
Okay.
Tell us about the book real quick. We've got a couple of minutes left. Tell us about the book.
All right. Well, my book is, I published my 3rd book with Legacy Publishing. They specialize in
Well, what's the first
inspirational
one?
books.
We'll go quickly.
Okay, first book is Racing to the Yukon, mainly about my 1,000-mile race. Second book is Racing Around Florida, the 1,200-mile race around Florida, a day-by-day blow of how things are going. And then I realized at the end of 2019, I was ending 40 years of canoe racing. And so I thought, well, why don't we do a book about that? And my publisher readily agreed. And I had some stories I'd written about, over the years, and I included these in the stories of the book. For instance, I've got the Yukon River Quest 440-mile race, the Texas Water Safari 265-mile race.
And it's not just a book about the races.
Oh,
You have some
absolutely.
cool stories in
Yes,
there,
yeah.
some funny anecdotes, things
Oh,
that happened
right.
to you along the way, right?
Every time, you think I've been doing this long enough where I wouldn't hit too many surprises,
Mm-hmm.
there's always surprises.
Yeah.
Last year when I did the Everglades Challenge, my partner and I were just cruising along, and in the evening it just turned dark. We're all happy with where we are in the race. And what happens? We almost get blown out of the water because we ran on a sleeping pod of manatees.
Oh, my
And if you've ever seen a manatee do a power stroke with its tail, it's like a grenade goes off. And I thought our boat is too heavy to be worried about. They almost flipped us over. They blew us 2 feet out of the water, and we were very awake and alert after that.
I'll bet. Adrenaline was pumping. Huh?
That's
Yeah,
right.
maybe we're not going to
Yeah.
camp right now, right?
That's right. So there's always something new that happens. It never gets old.
Rod, we have run out of time. I want you to look into this camera and tell people how to get in touch with you if they have questions, if they want to take part in dragon boat racing locally. Give the people an idea of what they can do and where they can get a hold of you.
Yes, please contact me at rodpriceadventure@yahoo.com. Or you can go on Facebook, just look up the Clermont Dragon Boat Club. We put no expectations on you. Just come out, try dragon boating. If it's for you, we'd love to have you. If not, well, you've done a new activity. If you're interested in my book, rodpriceadventure.com. We're just getting the book up. I just got delivery of some books from my publisher. And look forward to seeing you on the water.
Have paddle. I know Jay got the other ones. Have paddle, will travel. Okay, this looks like it's a lot of fun. So, and I'll bet you Rod's going to give me that book and sign it for me.
Absolutely, Joe. This is yours.
I'm actually going to let you sign it while I finish out the show. Look,
Okay.
Rod, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. You've been a great guest.
Okay, thank you very much.
Look,
Joe.
if you guys know anybody that should be a guest, let me turn this so Jay can hear me. If you guys know anybody that should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, let me know. Remember, cool people with great stories. Let me decide if it's a great story. Cool people, businesses and organizations all make up our dynamic community. If they are age 6 to 106, I will interview them. Please, please, please. Jay has the information. Let me know. If you are not branding your business on South Lake TV, you are missing the boat. Your customers, your volunteers, the people that love you live here. You should be branding on South Lake TV. It's more affordable than any other advertising and marketing at all available anywhere in Florida. That's my shameless plug, and it's the God's honest truth. Finally, as Rod has been doing, using his greatness to bring out the greatness in others, I encourage you that there is greatness inside of you. Use your greatness to bring out the greatness in somebody else. Touch a life and change the world. This has been Joe Carlisle with Joe Knows South Lake. I will see you later, and I do love you. Bye-bye. My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe Knows South Lake. Joe Knows South Lake would like to thank the following sponsors: